All right, it's time for Real Talk presented by Capital One. Real Talk, Michael, I'd be shocked at this point if Deshaun Watson were suspended for less than an entire season.
Yeah. Why do you say that?
I think the league has no choice but to be in CYA mode. And they're going to err on the side of caution when it comes to the court of public opinion. Like, I look back at Ben Roethlisberger getting 6 games and reduced to 4. Which in hindsight, like if Ben Roethlisberger happened right now, how many games in this climate, in this contemporary climate, how many games is Ben Roethlisberger getting? Probably a season. Yeah. Like, yeah. I mean,
probably like 8. Because it was 2. It was 2 women, right? It was 2 women with Ben Roethlisberger.
Yes.
And he was not arrested.
No.
I don't think he was sued. Or he may have been sued and then there was a settlement.
Well, I mean, the specifics, it's not apples to apples, obviously, but the numbers are much greater in this case, number of accusers. But he was accused of rape in Georgia and in rape in a hotel room, if memory serves me correctly. My point is, it's such a, you look, it's just the times have changed. And in this current climate, I don't see a world in which the NFL looks at this situation. Forget about guilt or innocence. I'm just talking about optics. That the NFL looks at this situation and thinks that 6 games is gonna fly. You know what I mean? Like, it just feels like they're gonna drop the hammer in the interest of self-preservation from a public relations standpoint. You know, it's you watch the accusers last night. We've read the details. You take the temperature, and the league, the league is always going to take the temperature when it comes to public relations, when it comes to outrage and outcry and response and what have you. And this is about, for the league, it's always about, you are held to a higher standard as an NFL player. You're representing the shield. You're putting the integrity of the game at risk with your actions. That's what it's going to be under the guise of. Forget Trevor Bauer getting 2 years. Can you imagine the response based on the information that's out there, based on these women going public and speaking their truth to HBO and other outlets previously? Can you imagine the response to the league suspending Calvin Ridley for a year and Deshaun Watson for 6 games? Like, that's just not going to go over well, regardless of the facts. I am not proclaiming guilt or innocence. But what I do know is there are 22 women accusing him of sexual assault and misconduct. He had a pattern of soliciting a large number, an abnormally large number of massage therapists, some of which he has acknowledged ended in sexual encounters, consensual or otherwise, right? So I'm saying, like, if the league is going to be like, look, we don't care what the criminal court system said. We don't care what the grand jury said. This is messy. And you put yourself in a messy situation. So right or wrong, guilty or innocent, you got to sit down because we got to protect ourselves here. That's how I think the league is going to look at this situation and handle it. Regardless of the facts, they are going to protect their image as best they can at the expense of whom they can. Because lest we forget, there is an owner that should not be owning anymore. That well, at least one, if not 2. I'm talking about the one in Las Vegas.
Right.
Okay. There's a couple of owners who should be up out of here by now. Okay.
It's funny. You said you were talking about the one in Vegas. I thought you were talking about the one in D.C.
Well, that was the one.
But
no,
anyway.
That's what, when I said 2. No, when I said at least one was the one in D.C. When I said 2, I was adding Mark Davis to it. So at least 2 that should be up out of here. Snyder's the obvious one. Davis as well. So I'm saying, like, they're going to make an example out of Deshaun Watson because they can.
Well, I'll say, man, first of all, just watching this last night, shout out to Soledad O'Brien. Great job of asking direct questions, being an excellent listener, and as HBO Real Sports put it, as Brian Gumble put it, just as he was about to exit the piece, he said, at the 11th hour, Deshaun Watson's, one of his representatives, one of his lawyers, wanted to
be heard,
tell her side of the story.
Yeah.
And I would say, out of everything there, And like you, I'm not saying, oh, I know what happened. I don't know what happened. But I do know this. She did not come off well. Watson's lawyer, hey, don't make this about Tony Busby. It might be about Tony Busby, but people don't want to hear that. Soledad O'Brien asked him, well, why should we believe one man over 22 women?
Yeah.
And she turned it around and says 22 women, one lawyer. It's about Tony Busby and his need for attention and social media. Hey, are you trying to hear that right now? She was so smug. She was tone deaf. That was a bad job. As a matter of fact, it would have been better for them if she hadn't said anything. Yeah. She did not. She did not deliver.
Well, but
she didn't deliver the message.
They've all acknowledged that he had sex with massage therapists. And what I'm saying is, like, forget about judgment. Roger Goodell is going to suspend him for, I believe, a season. That's just my hunch, because I don't think they want the smoke of having to explain 6 games.
I think it's coming.
But the reason is they're going to say, because
I think it's coming in a few days.
You should not have put yourself in this position. That's what they're going to say.
Yeah.
Like, while we cannot determine whether or not a criminal, I could almost write the release for you. We did not determine your guilt or innocence in accordance with the law. But what we did determine is that based on the higher standard as an NFL player, you have compromised the integrity of the NFL by putting yourself in this situation. So they're going to let him appeal that year to Roger Goodell, but the disciplinary officer is going to say, you sit him down for a year.
That's right. And I'm telling you, I think it's going to happen fairly soon. I'm just going to guess maybe Friday, during Brother from Another, or just after we go off the air, going into the Memorial Day weekend. I think it may happen. I think we're very close to some Deshaun Watson news. But the other thing is, Mike,
you think you really news dumps, man? Y'all with these news dumps. It's 2022. There ain't no news dumps in 2022.
Yes,
not with social media.
They still exist. They still exist. They still exist. They still exist. Because they know the pattern. These are very smart people. These are very skilled PR people. They know, even in 2022, when it's all digital and it's not above the fold and it's not wait till 11 o'clock to see what your favorite sportscaster has to say about it. It's like a totally different world. They know the patterns of people.
Which is what?
And patterns of people going to a holiday weekend. Okay, and it might be lighting it up on social media for a little bit. Then it's on to the cookout. And it's on to
okay, and then come Monday or Tuesday, as the case may be, it's going to lead every show.
Maybe.
Okay.
But I'll say this.
Yeah.
I'll say this about the Cleveland Browns. Let me say this about the Cleveland Browns. Now, you know, growing up in Akron, Ohio, I did not root for the Browns. I was a Steelers fan. I'll admit it. I was a Steelers fan. I had to keep that quiet around most of my family. I really had to be quiet, especially during Browns playoff games when they lost the game. Don't say nothing. I used to get that look like, don't say nothing. And I didn't say anything. So I didn't root for them. I also didn't root against them, though, Mike. I never rooted against them unless they were playing the Steelers. I didn't root against Cleveland. I didn't root against the organization. But right now, I think I am. Hey, for them to say we've done all the work on Deshaun Watson, yet you haven't talked to the accusers, then don't say that. Be a little more efficient, a little more careful with your language.
Yeah.
I can maybe make the argument for why you wouldn't want to talk to Tony Busby and why you wouldn't want to talk to 22 accusers when Deshaun Watson is your guy. But don't sit here and try to sell me that you're comfortable with everything you've learned about Deshaun Watson, when part of the Deshaun Watson story, once again, don't know what happened, but part of the story is these 22 people throwing these accusations at him. And if you're not going to listen to them, you haven't done all the work on Deshaun Watson. Stop saying that. Kevin Stefanski, you just said it again.
I'll just say this as we go to break real quick. You can roll the music, Gary. I'll just say this real quick as we go to break. You said rooting. I'm rooting for them. You know why I'm rooting for them? You know why I'm rooting for them? So that the following does not have to be a hypothetical. Again, I'm not commenting on guilt or innocence when I say what I'm about to say. I want them to hoist the Lombardi that they believe Deshaun Watson gives them a chance to finally win. Because I want to see what that's going to be like. And I want to see whether or not this particular juice was worth that squeeze. You know what I'm saying? Like, I even wonder, like, right now, it's like they got this great quarterback, but they got this cloud, and you're in a better position to compete for a championship, but it came at a cost. And I'm not talking about the $230 million guaranteed. Yeah. It's fascinating. Yeah, it really is fascinating.
I would,
you know,
I would like to see the Cleveland Browns win. I'm going to be honest. I'd like to see the Cleveland Browns win it without him.
Well,
I wish they could have won.
Well, that wasn't going to happen. But that was Real Talk, presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.